Hi there, welcome to another edition of Pitchside here on YouTube. My name is Defele Tabo Peter. Thank you so much for checking out our content on the channel, and thank you so much for the feedback. I definitely start each episode with those words because I know each time someone is watching us, they're either joining us for the first time or they haven't subscribed on the channel yet. That's why I keep requesting you people out there that please subscribe with Peter Tabu on Pitchside, and let's grow these numbers together, and let's be one happy big family. We are back again with quite an interesting talking point which has got the entire continent on fire. It's an obvious one. If you follow African football, you know that the Confederation of African Football, CAF, is the talking point here across the world because of the recent developments regarding the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations 2025, which was held in Morocco. As you all know officially now, through the CAF Appeals Board, Senegal are no longer champions of the Africa Cup of Nations. Morocco are, based on the ruling that was shared not too long ago. Now, everyone is up in arms. Morocco maybe for celebrating that they are now champions, Senegal for disputing the decision that was put out there. So we thought as Pitchside we can sit down and have a chat about what's ongoing, and it's only fair for me to have the chat with a very, very well-versed sports lawyer in this country and a panelist on Pitchside, Counsel Harold Atukwatse. Harold, how are you, sir? And welcome to Pitchside.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm very fine. Happy to be on Pitchside.
All right. I know you have a lot on your desk, but I'm pretty sure you've printed some rulings and CAF documents as regards to the big story that is making rounds about the Africa Cup of Nations that was in Morocco. Let me start with how you look at this whole scenario now, how it's panned out, and what is rolling out there in the public eye, and where CAF is standing with how you see it. Yeah.
No, it's an abhorrent decision. It's something you'd say is regrettable. There's so many other places that African football should be in, and this is the worst place that we could have chosen to be in at such a time. We had a relatively good tournament. The most recent Afcon in Morocco, well organized, the stadium standards, the training ground standards, the hotels, and everything seemed seamless until the end, or until you look into the back stories of each of those matches and events. So for me, it's a regrettable position to be in. I think CAF could have handled this better. But yeah, let's delve in, let's dig in and see what's behind this, where is it taking us.
All right, so maybe to just set the scene, the backbone of this whole thing was that final that paused for a couple of minutes because, of course, Senegal had disagreed.
10 minutes.
They had disagreed with the referee, or they did not agree with what the referee had actually officiated at a particular point. So when that was the starting point of why we are discussing this Afcon tournament. Of course, the game went on. The players returned. The game went on. Senegal scored one. Morocco had the opportunity to win the Afcon. Brahim Diaz decided to do a Panenka, saved. And that's how that whole thing, happened. 60 days later, this is what the CAF Appeals Board decides to put out there to the media. And that is why we have a lot of reaction. Now, Patrice Motsepe, the CAF president, was seen in a video trying to explain or trying to give his side of the whole situation. He didn't exactly point out which side he is on. He shouldn't anyway.
Rightly so.
But in the entire video, he sort of was explaining, giving cause of why the ruling stood as it is. Harold, what do you make of Patrice's video explaining about the whole situation of the Morocco?
Of course, as the CAF president,
yeah,
it's very imperative that he comes out and pronounces himself on the prevailing events.
Yeah.
It's good that he didn't take a side, but you need to calm the waters, and I presume that's what he was trying to do, because you have very many stakeholders. There might be a small team somewhere that thinks they'll win the trophy in the boardroom.
Yeah.
There might be a small team somewhere that thinks they can walk off the pitch and get away with it. There are sponsors. There are so many stakeholders. The eyeballs on the African continent, on African football. So it's very important that he comes out and speaks. As to the content of what he said, it was very telling.
Yeah.
For me, at certain instances, it seemed that like he was admitting that there's manipulation of football games, especially by referees. Especially when he says when he came into power, the standards of refereeing were low. He doesn't exactly say that now we have the highest standards. He leaves it out there, but he sort of like points a finger to what the problem that has led us here could be. And it was refereeing decisions. For me, that's the biggest thing I picked out. He spoke about the credentials of the people on the judicial bodies. For me, judges are tools.
Yes.
Especially in and even here in a normal society, but most especially in football. Because, Peter, if you watched we all grew up in the Sepp Blatter era.
Yeah.
So if you watch that documentary about Sepp Blatter, you'll know that football is one of the dirtiest games on the continent. So, and by saying judges are tools, it sort of like makes it look like there is an agenda.
Yeah.
An agenda, for lack of a better word, an agenda that has to sort of be followed or be fulfilled and things of the sort. But yeah, I like that he came out. It's a brave statement he made. He pointed to some deficiencies of African football, which we should pick up and maybe do better in the future.
All right, so he's trying to sort of explain himself, but also not come out and say he's in support of the ruling. Let's get to the ruling. I want to, quote unquote, read just a bit of it. The CAF Appeal Board decided that in application of Article 84 of the regulations of the CAF Africa Cup of Nations, Afcon, the Senegal national team is declared to have forfeited the final match of the Africa Cup of Nations, Morocco 2025, with the result of the match being recorded as 3-0 in favor of the Fédération Royale Morocco de Football. The statement goes on and on with the other decisions that were made, but that is the major one.
Yeah.
Let's start with the CAF rulebook, Harold. I know for sure that the CAF rulebook has the CAF appeal board, where, of course, appeals can be put in regarding any situation.
Yeah, starts with the disciplinary committee.
Yes. But the same rulebook also has statutes that indicate that the referee's decision is final.
Yes.
Was CAF within their right to put out this statement? And does it have a basis? Is it legal anyway?
Does it have a basis? Yeah. I'll tell you that, and being a lawyer, I'll tell you that the appeals body gave the rules their literal interpretation, in their own view. You spoke about Rule 84, but you have to read 82, 83, and 84. Combine them, and then you'll get the bigger picture of the whole thing. Now, 82.
Yes.
Rule 82 is its own abandonment for purposes of this discussion, but also it starts with the pre-match events. A team that doesn't turn up for any reason, if a team doesn't turn up for any reason, if a team refuses to participate in a match, or for any reason, if a team walks off the ground or leaves the ground at which the match is being played without the authorization of the referee.
Yes.
Now, when you read 82, the one that I have just put out here, you see that the element or the trigger that applies to Senegal is the last bit of walks off the ground or leaves the ground without the authorization of the referee.
Yes.
Now you ask yourself, if you apply the facts to the law that we've just read, did Senegal walk off the ground without the authorization of the referee?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. So that you've left the field of play without the authorization of the referee.
Yeah.
That's what we'd call abandonment of a football match. That's what Senegal is being accused of. And then you can go to 84.
84. Allow me to read 84.
Yes.
The team which contravenes the provisions of Article 82 and 83,
and 83
shall be eliminated for good from the competition. This team will lose its match by 3-0 unless the opponent has scored a more advantageous result at the time when the match was interrupted. In this case, the score will be maintained. The organizing committee may adopt further measures.
Now, 84 is what you'd call the penalty clause. It
Yeah.
spells out what the penalty is.
Yes.
And it says that you will lose the game by forfeiture, 3-0, which is
Which is what
CAF
the
has
appeal
applied,
board-
which is
yes.
what the CAF appeals board has given out or has meted out on Senegal. You lose the game by forfeiture. Now, this for me brings in the entire rule book.
Yes.
And it brings in also an element of jurisdictional boundaries. What do I mean by that? In that every body in football has limits on what it can do and what it can't do. As a referee, you have limits of your powers
Yes.
from kickoff to 90 or extra time if on natural end of a football game,
Yes.
extra time or penalties or whatever. Those are the confines of your authority. As a CAF disciplinary body or appeals body, you also have your jurisdictional boundaries. In that, you pre-match, if there are some events that have happened pre-match, or post-match. Now, I'll take us to Article 6 of the CAF Disciplinary Code and Article 11. Article 6 speaks about referees' decisions being final.
Yes.
And it's very clear, it's unambiguous. It says once the referee makes a disciplinary decision on the pitch, it is final. Now, in this case also, that you've walked off the pitch, the referee has the right to say the game has ended here.
Yes.
Like the way Sadio Mane and team walked off and Papetia was calling all of them to go off. Jean-Jacques Ndala could have said, you know what? Game over, whistle, true,
'Cause they
brought
walked
the
off.
game
Yeah.
to its end and it's done. And that decision would be final. Would be discussing an abandonment now by Senegal.
Yes.
But Ndala on the day, or the referee on the day, held out for the 10 or so minutes until Senegal players were called back, came back onto the pitch, and continued with the game. Usually, a game has so many interruptions.
Yes.
Medical, water breaks, force majeure, rain,
Injuries.
and all sorts of things, security. Now, the referee has the power to come out and say, look, like the Villa game that was in Calvary the other day.
Yeah.
It was in Calvary, yes. The
Yes.
referees came out and said, we cannot continue with this game because of such and such a reason, and they made a report, and that was followed in reaching the decision. FUFA awarded a 3-0 win to Villa. Anyway, getting back to this, that you read Article 6 of the CAF Disciplinary Code with Article 11, still about referees. Now, Article 11 brings in the exceptions, which I believe the CAF Appeals Board based on to make this decision. The exception is that when the referee has made their decision, it's final, except in cases where he has left out something or he has missed something.
Yes.
That yes, your word is final, but we believe you missed out A, B, C, D. The most recent example I can give you is the Champions League between Real Madrid
and Benfica.
and Benfica.
Yeah.
We had an incident. We had some fracas for some time. But the referee came out and implemented the UEFA racism protocols and blah, 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 blah. But he missed the words that were uttered. So he could not send off the player.
He wasn't sure.
Yeah, he wasn't sure. He could not send off the player. He could not act. That's an incident where you say the ref missed something. Now, if the referee misses that, then you can come back and, as a judicial body, you can come back and make a decision.
And review.
Article 11 gives you those powers. It's the exception to the referee's word is final.
So, Harold, let me understand you very well. You're saying that even though the CAF competitions rule book gives the referee the full authority over the result of a football game, the same rule book also allows that in case the referee has missed out something,
Yes.
they can review and therein make a decision.
Yes.
So the CAF appeals board is coming from that angle.
I believe that's the angle because I haven't read the reasoned judgment. But I
Yes.
believe that is the angle that they are using. Now, we must be clear that it's not re-refereeing. Because re-refereeing would be that the referee made the wrong decision. This rule is very clear that you missed this. You get me, Peter?
Yes, I get
Now
you.
we have to go back and say, did the referee on the day, Jean-Jacques Ndala, did he miss the abandonment?
That's
And the answer is no.
That's a tricky question. It's no on the pitch. No, it seemed like he wanted the game to continue, amidst the 10 minutes, what people also need to understand is there were so many activities. I'm going to tell you. The first one was Walid Regragui, the Moroccan
coach.
national team head coach, then was in front of the referee trying to give his reasons. Papi Thao, same thing. We're in the 10 minutes. It's not like players stopped, everyone is on their bench. No, there is activity.
Yes.
So the referee, I think in that instance,
he allowed for that activity to go on. The same way maybe most recently we saw Benfica and Real Madrid. There's activity going on. Vinicius and Mourinho, Pestriani and his teammates, and all of that is going on. And the referee has paused the game.
Yes.
Same thing with Ndala. And like you said, because I wasn't in the stadium, so maybe I missed that. The broadcasters didn't show us all that chaos to protect the image of the game or the integrity of the game. But yeah, like you're mentioning, the question is, did the referee, Jean-Jacques Ndala, on the day miss anything in as far as that abandonment is concerned? Because what we see is that he awards a penalty, the Senegalese players protest. In those 10 minutes, there's a lot of activity happening on.
Exactly.
But he's very cognizant of the fact that he has not ended the game.
Yeah.
And now, for an abandonment to happen, there is a natural period within which the game is supposed to happen. 90 plus added time or extra time. Now, on the day, the game went on until the penalty. For some time, there was a disruption.
Yeah.
Later on, Ndala called back the team. That the referee of the day called back the team. So the teams came back and they started from where we'd stopped.
Yeah.
They took the penalty. I think they added 17 or 18 minutes because the penalty was awarded, I think, in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. So they resumed from where they stopped. They gave the penalty. Morocco took it and missed it. Senegal later scored the winner. The game came to its natural conclusion. And for those of you who've watched football, you know how the referee signals the beginning, the midway, and the end of the game. Yes. So at the abandonment, he could have come to the center circle and signaled the same. Said the game has ended.
At that time when the players, when Papi Thao said, let's walk off.
Yes.
That is
he could have signaled that and it would have been in his report.
Yes. So the game didn't only end there.
Yeah.
At full time, the award ceremony happened.
Yes, the award ceremony happened.
Players were
the trophy
given
was
awards.
awarded. It was given out. But Peter, before we got the award ceremony, let's first deal with these little bits of legalities. Yeah. And we've established that there was no abandonment.
Yes.
So after establishing that there's no abandonment, therefore, Article 6 and 11 of the CAF disciplinary code do not come into play.
Yes, because
Article 6 comes into play to say the ref's decision is final. Yeah. Now, the exception in Article 11 doesn't come into play. The referee did not miss anything. He was in charge of each and every component of that game, the good ones and the bad ones. Now, then you ask yourself, does the appeals body or any of the judicial bodies at CAF have the authority
to overturn
a live and deliberate decision of the referee? The key word there is live and deliberate. That the decision was made in real time and it's deliberate. The referee did not make a mistake. You can even see that results have not been overturned for things like match fixing, doping, where you find 3 or 4 people, the guy who scored the winning goal doped. You don't overturn, or the game was fixed, but the team that won. So it must be extraordinary circumstances.
Adrian Mutu.
You're right. Yeah, for you to overturn a live and deliberate decision of the referee.
The big question now comes in. The CAF Appeals Board statement or ruling or statement, should I say, because it's now in the media.
A ruling, yes.
Where they mention forfeiture. Is that null and void?
It is. It is. Though you don't say judicial decisions are null and void, because, I mean, as humans, we are custodians of opinions. Everybody has an opinion, so that is their opinion. It's not null and void. But what I tell you, it's a misapplication of Rule 82, 83, 84, and then the articles of the CAF disciplinary code as far as referees' powers are concerned. That's why I was telling you that there are jurisdictional boundaries, that each body has where its powers stop. That pretty much before kickoff, CAF is in charge. First minute to 90, the referee is in charge. Post-match, CAF is in charge. So I think they overstepped their powers. They were overreaching in entering a docket that's meant for referees.
All right. So this is now out there. Looks like CAF have decided to hang themselves out there for the public jury to come in. Senegal, they've taken several steps. They're going to CAS. The Republic of Senegal, the government have released a statement. The players have been on their personal social media handles celebrating that this is still our, win, this is our title and everything. Sadio Mane, his statement was really rough and all, but it was clear he was against what's happening. Just how far can Senegal go? I know there is CAS, but maybe direct us on how that can be done and achieved.
Peter, before we go to what Senegal can do, I want us to talk about the circumstances surrounding the tournament. The circumstances that us, the people who are seated in Kampala, didn't see. Because I believe it's the other element that should have informed the appeals body decision, or that might have informed the disciplinary body's decision.
Let me just explain.
Exactly.
That leading up to the final, there are a lot of talking points. And these included, first of all, when Senegal came to Rabat to begin the preparations for the final, when they arrived at the train station, the team was mobbed by Senegalese fans. And so many people who were there to take selfies and, interact with the players and stuff like that. And when you look at the video and the whole process, it's easy for you to judge and say there was not enough security. I say enough, not that there wasn't, but enough. That's one. But anyways, they went on to reach their hotel safely. And key to note is that Senegalese are the biggest number of nationals in Morocco. That I can confirm because I found them in Rabat. I found them in the tourist city of Marrakesh. I found them in Tanger, everywhere. Big number of them down there. So maybe there were funds, maybe I don't know. But the security issue, there was a security lapse there, according to the Senegalese Federation. Then you move to the hotel that booked for them. They felt it was not to the standard that they wanted.
And maybe before you leave the security issue, we ought to note that the local organizing committee is in charge of protecting all of the teams. So whether it's protection from Senegalese funds or whatever kind of funds, we're in charge of protecting the teams. So as they vacate their hotel, and you'll see it, you saw it even here in Chan, that Uganda police will give whichever team is moving a lead car from their hotel to Nambole and back, whether it's for training or whatever. So they went through that. Then the hotel, then the training ground.
Yes, and then the training ground. During the entire tournament, we had so many teams using the Mohammed V football complex, which is Morocco's training center. Senegal felt they could not use a facility that is owned by the host nation, which is in the final, because they felt they weren't secure. So they demanded for another training venue, and they were given another training venue that was just outside the main stadium that is going to host a final. So a couple of things popped up before the final, and by the time that whistle blew to kick off the final,
it was brewing. The storm was brewing. It was coming.
It was coming.
And then the reason I asked for that background, Peter, is to paint a picture. We're dealing with human beings. They started that final with the thinking that all factors are against them. This is rigged for Morocco to win.
It wasn't on fair ground.
Yes, it's rigged for Morocco to win. And now back to the match itself. Senegal scores a legitimate goal and it's cancelled. 1 minute, 2 minutes later, they get a penalty on the other side of the pitch. So as CAF, you have to, and this is something that FIFA has done better than CAF, that you have to come out and punish your referees. Ndala has walked away with no stick whatsoever
in this whole
saga. Yes, CAF has not come out and said, look, there was a problem here and there. We've seen, every 2 months or 3 months, FIFA will come out and ban referees. based on the wrong decisions they have made and stuff like that. You have to admit blame. So I think at the back of their minds, the appeals body should have considered all of those factors,
But
the
also,
majority of which are their fault.
yeah, so Harold, the disciplinary committee after the final put out a statement, and people were fined. From when that happened up until now, when the ruling has been made from the CAF Appeals Board, it seems to project that the disciplinary committee and what they shared doesn't hold any water. Is it the case?
And let me put it this way.
Yes.
That justice in football is a bit different from justice in normal circumstances here.
Yes.
In that, let's say you go to the High Court and you lose a case.
Yeah.
Your presumption is that the judge is neutral. And even when you appeal, you presume that the appeal judges or justices are neutral.
Yeah.
Now, in football, there's a lot of mafiaism. And by mafiaism, I mean that there are under influences. And in this case, everybody has accused Morocco of those under influences. One of the reasons
buying
is
CAF.
buying CAF. And there at a time we used to accuse Egypt of this when Egypt was the richest football nation. All tournaments were in Egypt, CAF headquarters, everything. Same thing is happening to Morocco. Morocco, because they are the wealthier nation, sort of like have given CAF a green light to organize whichever tournament they want to organize in Morocco. Now, we need to understand that post the Afcon final, Morocco refused to host the Afcon, the women's Afcon.
We probably didn't see it coming, but there was something.
So they had the mango. They had a mango in there. They were like, no, we're not going to host this thing, take it somewhere else.
And they had no reason.
And CAF has not found a new venue.
They haven't, by the way.
So,
Under pressure.
yes, Morocco lashed out.
Yeah.
Said, look, you've taken away this thing from us, we're going to punish you. So, and for me now that builds up to the 2 months, the 60 days that have gone before we get an appeals committee decision.
Yeah.
Because the disciplinary board sat immediately and meted out punishments and gave a firm decisions. The appeals committee took its time. That for me, it gives some jitters.
Yeah, in the whole
Why
mix.
did it take that long?
all that time? There's just too much to break down here in terms of sports law and all. But Harold, let's get to the question that I asked earlier on.
Yeah.
Senegal, how
Next
far can they
steps. Obviously, they don't want to lose their Afcon. Much as
go? Talk of handing back the trophy.
yeah, they don't want to hand it over. Much as they're the people's champions, they don't want to hand that over. So they'll go to CAS, the Court for Arbitration for Sports. And CAS is an independent body, an independent judicial body that usually mediates or arbitrates on sports matters.
Yeah.
They'll go to CAS and appeal. The final appeal, the CAS decision will be binding. So if CAS confirms the decision of the appeals body, Senegal will not be champions. They will appeal, and among other things, they'll state the things that we've spoken about here. Referee's decision is final. There was no abandonment. We came back and played, and the game came to its natural conclusion. We are awarded the trophy. We were punished. Please uphold the decision of the disciplinary committee. Of course, they'll include the other tiny little elements about Saibari, about the lasers, about the ball boys, and all of those. They'll include those. But most importantly, they will appeal to overturn the appeals body decision.
There's been talk that Senegal don't even have to, put in a lot of work with this appeal. It's clear and obvious.
No.
From your perspective, is it so obvious that they're going to walk in Louisiana and they're given that trophy?
In my 13 years experience as a lawyer, and maybe if I add on the little experience I had from law school, the easiest cases are the easiest to lose. Never walk anywhere thinking, oh my God, my case is easy and obvious. It's not obvious. It's not easy and obvious. And when we were starting, I was telling you that the appeals body read the rules, 82, 83, 84, and also went and read Article 6 and Article 11 of the disciplinary code and interpreted it the way they interpreted it. There's nothing that precludes CAS from interpreting it the same way. So there is no easy case. Senegal still has to make their case.
So you're part of that Senegal strong legal mind that
Yeah.
is going to be in Lausanne, for example,
Yeah.
trying to make sure that they make a case for them
Yeah.
to retain their Afcon title.
Yeah.
What are some of those major things that you're going to look at and say it's crucial for us to prove that
Yes.
ABCD was actually not done to the law?
The first thing, for starters, you need to scrutinize the three laws, mostly the two laws, the punishment clause, which is 84, and then the primary law, the primary rule, which is 82. That a team, for any reason, a team that walks off the playground or off the ground without the referee's authorization will be deemed to have forfeited the game and they'll lose it 3-0. That's the first thing you have to deal with. That's the first hurdle you have to overcome. And for that, like I've mentioned, you have to come out and explain and prove that you did not actually, yes, you walked off the ground, but it does not amount to an abandonment in the confines of rule, or forfeiture in the confines of rule 82, 83, and 84. It does not, because one, you came back.
And play continued.
And two, play continued with the ref's authorization. And the game was brought to its natural end after the referee blew the final whistle. We proceeded to the award ceremony and blah, 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 blah. That's your strongest case. The second point is the spirit of the game. That there was a disruption that happened, and these disruptions happened. We were punished for it. We regrettably made that disruption. We did not intend to, but circumstances beyond our control, it happened. The referee called us back. We played the game and finished it in good spirit. When we came back, we didn't protest the penalty. We allowed Morocco to take the penalty. We played on, we scored and won.
That's where you will come from.
That is where I'd come from.
And for CAF, I know you can't be...
Of course, the last point there would be that, the referee's decision is final.
According to the rule book.
According to the rule book, and this doesn't fall within the exceptions where a judicial body can come in and intervene.
Okay, so on the other side of the bench is CAF, who are saying that Morocco are champions.
Yeah.
And they are basing on one major rule, which is forfeiture, walking off the pitch.
Yeah.
They are not looking at the game resuming.
Yeah.
Do they have a strong case there?
And maybe before I even go to that,
Yes.
that CAF as a custodian of football, and this will serve for the Senegal team also, that CAF as a custodian of football, you should be fighting to preserve the integrity of sporting decisions. That you do not want to award boardroom champions. You do not want to award boardroom points.
That's a good
And
one.
there's a whole lot of jurisprudence, a whole lot of cases that have been decided by CAS where they say, for us to overturn a sporting result, a result that was achieved sportingly on the pitch, you must prove extraneous circumstances. Extraneous circumstances are maybe Senegal got off there, they took a bus and left and things of the sort, or there was violence and things of the sort, which were not in this case. CAF will stick to the forfeiture. They'll say you walked off the pitch, that amounts to forfeiture. You left the ground, that amounts to forfeiture. That is the only thing that they have to say. The other element maybe I need to bring in just a bit of procedure at CAS is that so each team will be asked to appoint an arbitrator of their own. CAS will give their arbitrator, then the other side will be asked to appoint an arbitrator. CAF will also be asked to appoint an arbitrator, and the Moroccan Federation. So the trial will then be given a date. You have to pay these people, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you have an arbitrator from Argentina, you have to pay their air flight and all of these things, and he'll tell you my fee is $5,000 per hour and blah, 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 blah. You have to pay all of those fees. Now, CAS will give a decision. 6 months, 1 year, 3 months. My biggest fear is we might enter Afcon Pamoja without a defending champion. Will you say who's the Morocco or Senegal? Who's the defending champion for Pamoja? Because CAF processes take a bit of time unless you can prove agency that, if you don't take this decision quickly, it will be overrun by events and things of the sort. So we're in March, going into April, maybe September, October, November. We'll be able to know who the actual champion is, whether Senegal is confirmed or whether they have to take the.
And remember, in between there, we have the Afcon 2027 qualifiers.
Yes, we have the qualifiers. Yes,
going on. So there's a bit of a mix there.
Yeah.
So you've given context of CAS, Court of Arbitration for Sport, and how the whole process will go on. We've also been privileged to have a lawyer sit on two benches, for and against. Isn't that interesting? It doesn't happen in real time, though. So let's get to, just briefly, as all these things happen, Senegal versus CAF versus Morocco, where does it put African football?
In the pits, in the worst place. I think in my lifetime, this is one of the worst places that African football has been in. We've had instances at the CAF Confederations Cup and the CAF Champions League levels, but this was the one time when the whole world was watching, and this is how we decide to disgrace ourselves. So it sends us to the pits, but there's nothing that a little PR can't fix. The moment, if CAS comes out with a decision confirming Senegal, then we will know the Moroccans for the corruption for the corrupt fellas they've decided to be. We will know CAF for lacking a bit of spine in this. But we'll move on. Football is bigger than all of this.
The president, Patrice Motsepe, he's been, before all this, he's been looked at as someone who has changed the narrative of African football, brought in lots of money. The club competitions are receiving quite some good money. He's emphasized that African football, especially Afcon, has to be played on pristine grounds and in a very good environment. And all of that. Where does this put him as first of all, one of the most followed people on the continent? Apart from him being CAF president, he's a billionaire. He owns Sundowns and all of this. Where does it put him?
It leaves a stain on his legacy, Peter. But I'll say this, that I hope we do not judge him by this incident. Because like you said, he's done a lot of good things. And one of the best things he's done for football is by forcing government's hands to build stadia. Here in Uganda, we've been the biggest beneficiaries. We have 3 stadia that have come up that can host international events. We have training grounds and things of the sort. Secondly, I'd say maybe because he's a billionaire, one of the richest men on the continent, he's brought in a lot of money into the game.
African schools?
Yes, Africans. Right, right from the grassroots, African schools. Clubs now get money for participating in the preliminary rounds and things of the sort. But I'll have you know, Peter, that, and this is for the administrators that I have followed, they're all not devoid of scandals. It's like CAF or FIFA or FUFA or CONCACAF or Asian football presidency is followed by scandals. We've had a good fair of scandals with our own local football here. With the FIFA president getting into a bit of a murky position. We saw Ahmad. He also got into trouble before Motsepe comes in. So, and then these are all things to do with
Platini.
Yeah, Platini. Before Sepp Blatter.
Platini yadawa.
That's the guys who made money. You'll find him on an island somewhere in the south of France, chilling and enjoying his life. So for me, this is something that we should bury as quickly as possible. We would pray that CAS handles this matter maybe before June. We bury it and move on.
We are discussing Afcon 2025, but we have Afcon 2027 coming.
Yeah, Pamoja.
And for Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, what are the take-homes from this? I know we are far away from it, and you who is watching may ask, what kind of question is that? But I can tell you for sure that if you look critically, there are a couple of things East Africa can learn from this.
No, Peter, we are in the thing. For starters, I know we're one of the most hospitable parts of the world. I mean, Ugandans, that goes without saying. If you visited Uganda, you know that we are a hospitable lot. But that does not exonerate us from mobbing the Egypt, or not even the Egypt, the Cameroon bus. If Onana comes here with Mbwemo, if we're not careful, they'll not leave the team hotel.
I need to tell you this just briefly. At the Afcon, I covered training sessions for about 6 or 7 top teams on the African continent. Morocco, Cameroon, South Africa, and Nigeria. And I can tell you, for Nigeria, we had about 350 journalists. Just for one training session. For Cameroon, same situation. And that is without... That Cameroon team didn't even have Eto at a training session. But if Eto showed up, it's chaos. So I understand when you say that if Cameroon is training at Kadiba, and Mbwemo is there, Onana maybe is back on the national team, Eto is also there training with it's absolute chaos.
No, Peter, we've seen this before in this country. When Cameroon played Kenya and Nambole, I bought a ticket to go and watch the game. I couldn't enter the stadium because there's no crowd control on the day. I mean, it was not a FUFA event, so they didn't invest much. But I couldn't get in. It was packed to the rafters. So one is the security. We need to put in place good security measures. The advantage we have there is that, this region, we do not suffer from lack of security. Maybe we'll deploy SFC or something, but I'm not worried about that, but it's a lesson for us to pick up. The other crucial thing is the towel gate. It's a towel gate. I mean, Saibari's punishment was reduced by the appeals committee. I don't know why, but they shouldn't have. We saw what happened with the towels. That's something we should pick up and make sure it doesn't happen, because we'll be in charge of the ball boys.
On-field drama.
On-field drama. We'll be in charge of the ball boys. The other element, Peter, is, for the organizers, is to make sure that whenever these teams are out here, the media is controlled the right way it should be controlled.
There's a narrative.
The hotels are controlled the right way. People are sleeping where they should sleep and areas are secure. Hopefully, a mighty Uganda Cranes won't be in Kisasi. There'll be maybe somewhere Commonwealth Resort in Munyonyo or things of the sort. Because lessons from Morocco, it was a pristine tournament with a few stains. Unfortunately, one of the few stains has become a big stain, but there are lessons there for us. It's a learning curve.
Okay, so East Africa, as you await to host the African continent, now you know what you need to really make sure that it's on check so that the tournament goes on as planned. We've had a very great chat and broken it down, of course, with what's happening as regards to the Senegal, Morocco, CAF debacle on the African continent. Has broken it down with Harold Atukwatse, sports lawyer from Adalsi Advocates. Yes, come through and get all your cases done and signed. As a matter of fact, we expect you have some French speaking people here, because I'm sure Senegal are going to
speak a lot of
some
French,
faxes and...
I'm the French-speaking lawyer myself. So we don't
bonjour, comment c'est le côté? So Harold is going to get you guys sorted. Otherwise, guys, keep it pitchside, man. Subscribe and cheers.